Hi, my name's Deborah Jensen. I'm from Experienced Business Solutions. We support a lot of small business owners, and my question is there any one thing that you guys can take from your journey? Jane, you've probably actually answered it, but that you still use today and think of, as a lesson that you've learned that somebody's told you?
So for me, the biggest lesson that I kind of go by now is, there's two, but anything's possible. But then the more prevalent one is fail fast. And, I think we've all touched on that a little bit. But I think in business, people often tend to write these laborious 100-page business plans and pour all their heart, soul, money, every last bit of everything into it, and then when there's no market or no one wants to buy it or no one wants to invest in it, suddenly it's kind of a big failure. Whereas I just literally do it as quickly as this. I'll pop something up on social media or something, kind of going, I'm thinking of doing this, are you interested in buying it? Yep, interested in buying it. Okay, now I'll work out how the hell to do it. Like, I actually never know how the hell I'm going to do anything until I've sold it first. So, and then I know, okay, someone wants to buy it, now I'll do it. And I used a very simple example of this in my book, where recently I said to a friend of mine who's quite an accomplished businessman who got a bit stuck, and I said, what are you into at the moment? He said, I love food, I love travel, I love Bali. I said, do you want to run foodie tours to Bali? He said, that would be amazing. This is as simple as I get. I just said to him, put on Facebook, who's interested in coming on a foodie tour to Bali? And that's as complex as my business plans get. He was like, what? You put it up there. It only takes one person saying, I'm interested. Then you go, okay, you work out some back of the envelope. I think it's going to be about $3,000. Then I'd go back and go, it's going to be about $3,000. If they still bite, then I'd work out what the hell the next stage is. Like, I think that's as complex as business gets. So fail fast, because I fail probably 20 times a day. As an entrepreneur, we have many, many, many ideas. And so I just go through them very quickly.
Mine's similar. I walk into my business partner every Monday morning with about 20 things. Go, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And I bought him an iPad that says just say yes, because he always used to say to me, no. And so now we've got products that we're basically the same thing, that okay, this is brilliant, I love it, let's just do it. And we'll say to a client, we can do it, and then we go back to the office and go, fuck, how do we do that? And we work it out, and they buy it, and we work really hard to make it great for them, and it's successful, and they end up getting great value out of it, but it's never perfect. We always just have a crack.
Hi, I'm Tammy from tammyguest.com, and I'm the entrepreneur's naturopath. I'm always interested to hear how the health of you reflects in the health of your business, or the opposite, where you've had moments in your business where you really weren't looking after yourself and it totally reflected in what you could do as a business person.
I've learned a big lesson about that. Sometimes you do just go so fast and so fast and so fast. And it was Pip, wasn't it, talking about that and not taking time out for you. I'm taking care of everybody else. I've got a family and I'm looking after mothers and mothering the mothers. And then I wasn't listening to my signals. Earlier this year, I ended up on the way to a mother's place to see her, and I had massive chest pains. And I thought, I better get off the freeway. And it got worse and worse and worse. I got to the hospital. It turned out I had pancreatitis. And I said to the surgeon after a weekend in hospital saying, well, no, I actually can't have surgery this week. I've got to go to the Gold Coast on the weekend. And he's saying, don't you? It took me a couple of months to actually get over that. So, I should have stopped, but it was all just too much, and I'd made a commitment and I needed to show up. So I did, but I just ate liquids and no fats for that, that weekend. But it reflects in you. Your health is your wealth. You do have to take care of yourself. Yeah. Absolutely.
They are fundamentally and absolutely inextricably linked. You cannot run a healthy business unless you are, in fact, healthy yourself. And most of us know this because of the times that we're not. One thing that I learned recently, I went on a conference not that long ago, and we learnt a lot about meditation and what the value of meditation was. And my reaction to meditation, for every year of my life since I was born was, cheers, mate, I'm actually just really busy. And when I've done all the yoga, and all that stuff that we all did, and, somebody invariably lets out wind and I get expelled from the class because I think that's still really funny. The problem is when I have 10 minutes of space, I cannot help but make a list. I make a list while I'm making a list. And I think that this is what busy people do. We learn, however, about the extraordinary value of meditation and how almost 100% of the world's most successful people practice meditation as a daily habit. So I thought, okay, well, I've taught myself a lot of things by becoming a habit. It's Not Personal is one of those. And I made it a resolution a couple of months ago that there's an app for everything now, of course, and I live my life on my iPhone, and I tried a couple of them. Tried Smiling Mind, but the one that I'm loving right now is an app that I downloaded to my phone called Headspace. And what I do with Headspace is in the morning, invariably I wake up with my children in the bed with me, and they're kind of sleeping and dozing. Satan and Lucifer, I call them. Pinky, we need to talk about them. Lucifer's normally in the bed with me, but I can lie there and do this 10 minutes of meditation. And I think it actually is becoming a habit. I'm so excited because 46 years in, and now I feel like I want to do more of it, in my car and I mean, Google it and do some reading. This meditation thing, it's the dawning of an age, of a new era of health and success for me, and I absolutely believe that to be true. And I'm just really shitty that it took me this long to figure that out.
Yeah, meditation's really key. I don't practice it enough, but my husband and I do date night and we go to meditation together. Yeah, it's kind of cute, except we probably go to Coles afterwards as well. But so we go to meditation together and we meditate. We try and do it every day and we go, come on, we're going to meditate. But it's our one thing we do together, and then we go to Coles. But yeah, I love that. It's key.
Yeah, and I think it's about prioritising too. When everybody's at you, and I have done this for a long, long time, my mantra is, will any small children get hurt if this isn't done today? And sometimes I just take off. I took my kids up, it snowed, and we live under the Dandenongs in Melbourne. Never snowed there for, rarely. So just put a message on the answering machine. I was due to have a deadline, and I thought, will any small children get hurt if I don't meet this deadline today? Well, no, of course they're not going to. So just put a message on saying I'm in a meeting, and went and slid down the hill on plastic rubbish bags all afternoon with the kids. But I think you have to stop out and have some fun, and prioritise really matters, because then when your health is down the tube, you can learn the hard way.
Hello, my name's Lisa Mills, and I'm from Simply Women Wellness and Calm Workplace Wellness, and I suffer from shiny thing syndrome. I don't know if anybody else does in the room. That kind of magpie that goes, oh, shiny thing, I'll jump onto that. And having two businesses, I kind of want to know what your perspective is on how you understand whether that shiny thing is an opportunity and an adjunct to your business, and how that shiny thing might also be a distraction, because I'd love to know that secret. Thank you.
I had two businesses once at the same time, and it didn't work for me because I didn't have the focus that I needed for either. But I think you have to have a crack, and just see what you can pull off. I mean, you've probably got a better story than me, but for me it didn't work. I needed to be really focused on one thing at a time, and maybe if that was meant to kind of work out, then it would have, but it just wasn't right for me. There's lots going on at Brand Hook. We've got probably 10 great products, so in a sense lots of clients, so I don't feel like it's just one thing. So I suppose I get my variety in there as well, because I'm, a bit schizophrenic and crazy, but yeah.
Okay. So there's probably lots of answers to this because I've been in various different iterations of it, but I am a massive advocate for focus. I think that is an imperative, which sounds completely counterintuitive to what I'm doing at the moment, and it is. Whoops. So I think, if you can afford focus, then that's the best thing to do. But if I was just focused on a print magazine, I would not have a business. It is not a financially sustainable commercial model, and I don't know that the print magazine alone will ever be. And so I have had to, which is kind of crazy because at the moment it's like I'm running 18 startups, and I still think of myself very much as a startup. 18 months into this. But, I've had to, the only reason that it's working is I've had to explore and develop different revenue models. And as I said before, that might be, the events or the online or the products, and within products there's a number of different things going on. There's about 18 different revenue streams, all of which I'm treating as sort of separate business units, but essentially they're all, feeding off the same brand message and the same overarching theme at the moment. Having said that, I do have a couple of other businesses that are completely non-collective. We still have the custom publishing and content creation agency, but I have people running it. I'm a very, very good delegator, and I think that's one of the biggest things, and something that that my partner Jack, and we just moved in together a while ago, and I realised, and he's an amazing entrepreneur, and he has at least 3 days a week at home, and he's got a big business, and I was like, well, this is bizarre. I've had my businesses for 13 years, and every time I've gotten a lot better in the last year, but I need to turn up at 8:30 because that's when everyone's there. And then Richard Branson, one of the biggest things he said, he's never had an office. He worked from his boat. He's worked from his house. He works pretty much from Necker now and wherever he is. And he said, as soon as you're in the office, you're the top dog, so you're the go-to person. And I noticed in the 3 weeks away, even though I was having a holiday, I wrote my entire next book, 10-chapter draft. I did everything I needed to. I actually had a holiday all day, every day. I had the best time. I had 6 days in the Bahamas on water slides. I just, it was so much fun. And then in Necker. And I said to Jack, I'm so freaking busy when I'm in the office. And there's a very big difference between being busy and being productive. And so coming back to the focus thing, I think, pick off what you do best. And I'm a great visionary and a great strategist, and I provide the architecture. And so that is pure focus for me. What happens underneath that? I have 70-something writers around the world and 24 full-time staff now on the magazine internally, but they're only really management people now. And then I've got, 35 different distributors and however many people. There's probably at least 300 people working, working on the collective on a daily basis now. But I'm not attached to all of that. I've got systems and processes and people and staff, and there's a chain of management and all that stuff that I've had to put in place. So I can be focused. So I kind of can do it all and not get too stressed about it, if that makes sense. Yeah, the focused, unfocused. But try and focus as much as you can.
Hi, I'm Holly Martin from Hunter Headline, and I have to admit I'm a bit of a fangirl. I have Pandora, I have it in every room of the house, and I have tried the Booby Bickies when I had my son earlier this year, so just overshare for you all. Sorry, that was a statement, but I had to let you all know, and they were delicious. So my question's actually, it can sometimes be the boring one, and it's about finance. So what's your big tip for a startup, especially if you've got no money? What's your number one tip from a financial perspective to get things going when you're starting from a base of zero?
We didn't pay ourselves for 12 months.
Tick.
It's probably not ideal. And 4 years in, we've just got an overdraft. And I think it's about having multiple revenue streams. So you've got to have a couple of things that you can do quickly. So, and keep you just be so on top of the money, you're beside yourself. Almost daily look at the money and look at the cash flow. So where are our invoices and where is the cash flow? And that took us ages to get really good at that. We actually worked out of the front of my house for the first 18 months, which I quite liked because I could put on washing and make dinner and all that kind of jazz. But yeah, it is have multiple revenue streams, really keep your eye on the cash flow and invoice, and just be all over it. Treat it like a project. Treat your money like it's a project, and that you just have to be all over it.
You might have to keep your day job for a while. And it gets really hard because you're doing these things and then those things. My daughter Sarah actually came on to manage the Booby Bickies. She'd been managing a flight centre in Sydney. And I said, well, yes, you can manage it, but, if you don't make any money, you don't get paid, honey. Her housemate moved out of her apartment, so the Bickies were all delivered to the airport where she'd been working at Flight Centre. She kept working there part-time. The Bickies were delivered there because they had a loading dock. She put it in her Yaris and drove them up to a third-storey walk-up, and that's how we started. And then very soon after, she was able to buy a van. So, she now looks like a mother driving around, Bronte in her van doing school pickups, but it's actually full of booby bickies. And then her housemate moved out to live with a boyfriend, so that bedroom became taken over by booby bickies. Just 2 weeks ago, we moved into a warehouse. So, you just do what you can with what you've got and hustle. Like for the marketing, see where you can do a contra.
Excellent, thank you.
Hello, I'm Tracy Brown. I'm a geriatrician. I'm a local doctor. I guess my question is a little bit different. I'm daring, I think, like an entrepreneur, but I actually work for New South Wales Health of all organisations, and I'm very keen to be disruptive. But you often meet lots of barriers in very big organisations. So I was wondering if you all had just one tidbit you could give me as a takeaway message to try and implement.
You are known, there is a definition for what you do. You are an intrapreneur. And that actually is a word where you are asked to perform an entrepreneurial function within side of a larger, well-funded organisation. It's tough in government at the best of times to do that. But the tip that I would give you is to help the organisation to understand more around this definition of an intrapreneur. And if you Google it, there's plenty of examples around. There's some great Harvard Business Review articles on intrapreneurship and how very large organisations have benefited greatly from having an entrepreneurial unit within inside of the company. How Fairfax Digital started was as a fledgling, fully funded startup within inside of Fairfax. It was, obviously it drew its money from the mothership, but it did not share any resource other than the funding from the mothership. When I left there, I had 110 digital-only journalists, on the P&L. We actually built a business within a business. That doesn't survive, it never will, particularly in a cost structure similar to government, so everything dies in the end. Get people to understand what intrapreneurial work looks like. Use the case studies and the examples to do it. Plenty of them around. And communicate, talk all the time. So really we turned a corner at Fairfax Digital when I realised that my job as CEO was not to run Fairfax Digital, it was to run Fairfax Print. Because they didn't understand and they were very fearful of what we were doing. When I started there in 2006, digital people would get into the lift and print people would get out of the lift. Because we were there to take their jobs. We were there to take the bread off their table. We were there because we wanted to destroy the foundation of independence and the rational voice of the country. This is actually how they thought.
They still do.
Yeah, they really do. It's changing all the
Which
time.
Which works well for me.
Perfect. And so where it really started to turn for me as an entrepreneur inside of that company is when I just thought, cheers, mate, my business can run itself. What I need to do now is go out and talk every single day to somebody who's frightened about what I'm doing. And when I started to do that, the tide started to change. And the organisation came to a view of what intrapreneurialism was and why intrapreneurs were important. We went on then to acquire 3 or 4 businesses and we ran them as intrapreneurial businesses, the Weather Zone weather company. I ran a weather company for a few years. And that was one of them that we ran as an intrapreneurial element inside of a large company. So that would be the advice I'd give you. It's really hard to do. Talk and 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 talk.
I just I actually wrote a book 9 years ago called Cubicle Commando, which is for intrapreneurs. That's what the byline is. So, it's a really interesting topic. But I can't talk so much about that, but I will talk quickly about how we run the collective now. And basically, very much what Jane was just saying, it's each of my teams, I empower them to run they're part of the collective as their own business. And a lot of them are really young and they have their own, budgets and KPIs and everything else that they have to do. And so this is kind of like the opposite thinking because you've got to get them, as Jane said, to understand how to let this happen. But people just blossom and flourish as soon as I do that. They don't want to leave. They want to stay there. They're using my money and, my risk or whatever to play. And I'm saying, okay, build this up. You can develop X amount of products or you can do whatever you want to do. And suddenly there's this whole lot of excitement and people running their own businesses within, and it takes a lot of the onus off me and allows me to go on holidays. So you kind of got to find the way of doing the flip. But yeah, it's hard. I mean, God, when you're dealing with red tape and bureaucracy and people who can't change, slip the collective under their nose, get them to read that. Yeah, tap away. But yeah, make those conversations. It's a good idea.
Okay, one more question.
Well, lucky last, thank you. Hi, ladies. I'm Lauren Devine from The Divine Life and also from Slingshot Accelerator. And before I ask my question, Holly, I really enjoyed your question about finance. Slingshot Accelerator really believe in people with ideas and will happily fund people that have incredible ideas. So please don't be shy and come and have a talk to us about that. But my question is, I'm running a business that is purely service-based. It's completely intangible. And so my question is, how or what are some of your tips around creating a following or a personal brand when I don't actually have kind of a product to offer? It is about me. And Jane, I really enjoyed, your talk about not making it personal, but I think there is a sense where my business is personal because I'm putting myself out there to, I guess, encourage and inspire other people. So, yeah, what are your tips around creating this sort of personal brand and creating a following based on nothing, an idea?
All right. My business is about me. The Booby Bickies has only been just on 2 years. It's not, that's a side shoot. My business is about me. And I think it's creating community. And I found Facebook is my thing. I tweet because I can't be stuffed. And my daughter said to me, you've got to get on Instagram. Everybody young's on Instagram. I said, well, you do Instagram. I can only do one thing properly. And I find you answering people's questions, being really generous about it, sharing your blogs on Facebook, getting that credibility up and, I get about 200 emails and Facebook questions every day. I don't answer them all, but I'll answer 3 or 4 on Facebook. And just taking that time, and I find every night I spend a couple of hours on Facebook just sifting through what's going on and checking, that it's all good, delete and ban if people are being nasty to each other, but keeping that community really clear and doing it. I think that's what's worked very well for me, and getting out there and doing talks too. And there's no small gigs. If you're asked to do a radio interview on a community radio, go and do it. Doesn't matter. You never know who will hear you there that will invite you onto something bigger. So just keep chipping.
I would just add one thing to that and actually try and create something tangible as well to a very intangible process. So whether it's writing a book or writing your blogs, or try and create something very tangible through your customer experience, so you can hand people something touchy-feely or email it to them or whatever it is, something, think of what could be a product in that journey.
Thank you to our panel. Please join us in thanking all of them warmly.